Hi, I'm Dave, CEO of Spark, and welcome to Head to Head, where myself and Mike dive into sales promotions campaigns from the vault. The good, the bad, and the downright genius. We're unpacking what worked, what didn't, and what you can learn for your next sales promotion campaign. If you've got thoughts on this episode, we'd love to hear them. Pop them in the comments, and if you've enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe so that you're the first to hear when we release a new episode. So we've slightly missed Easter. I'm here with Louise Ramplin today. Louise is our marketing manager at Spark, and we wanted to talk about a couple of new campaigns that we've not spoken about before. So we've picked on the Cadbury's Creme Egg Mystery, a campaign from 1984, the original version. They've run it a lot since then, under a slightly different guise. So more recently, it's been a case of trying to find a special white egg in certain retailers. But when it first ran in 1984, it was a little bit more old school. So what Cadbury's did was they buried eggs all around the country. 12 eggs, in fact, Fabergé style gold eggs worth 10 grand each. So not cheap stuff. Hidden all over the place, and customers sent in 12 wrappers to receive a book of clues called Conundrum. You can still find it on eBay if you go looking. Written by somebody called Don Shaw, which contained clues that pointed to the hidden gold eggs, essentially a branded armchair puzzle, Reader's Digest type of thing, where readers had to interpret the clues and go out and search for the treasure. Really captured the public's imagination, generated far more attention and publicity than Cadbury had expected it to. Really highly discussed, highly talked about, and generated Cadbury's highest ever brand share for cream eggs at the time. Gold eggs became collector's items over the years. Do you remember much of it?
I do, unfortunately.
Do you? That says something about our age, doesn't it?
I do. 1984, very different times. I was just having a look, and so the average house was worth £37,000 in 1984. God. So you can imagine a £10,000 egg.
There's no time to have a pop at Boomers. Let's not do it in this.
So it was a big reward, and like you say, gold fever absolutely hit. And I definitely remember people talking about it, the searching going on. I mean, I believe the book itself, the codes and the riddles were like some sort of Bletchley Park code breaker. And I did get involved to solve them. So it was not an easy task.
They all got found?
They didn't. Only 6 of them got found.
Right. They're still out there?
No. The rumours are that Cadbury's melted the others down.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Went out and found them. As you said, it did better than they thought. But the problem they had was that landowners were not happy with the general public coming out with their trowels and digging on their land.
You imagine there'd be metal detectorists, aren't they? You'd imagine there'd be those wandering around the country trying to find them.
So national trust places, national parks, people were digging everywhere. They had to actually cut the competition short.
Wow.
Only 6 were ever found, but nobody really knows what's happened to those.
The rest.
Yeah.
So there was a 13th egg I discovered, which I was quite pleased about, because with a lot of these sorts of campaigns, the trade is often forgotten. So apparently there was a 13th egg, which was bigger than the rest. So there was a prize draw for trade customers to go into and win this 13 egg, which I'm led to believe has never been seen by anybody except the winner, or anybody. Nobody's had access to it except the winner. So they did slightly ahead of their time, perhaps, with running a trade version of the promotion as well.
Really nice idea, because and again, back in those times, you didn't have all of the chains, you didn't have all the large supermarkets. Most people were buying their eggs from independents. So to get them involved, and again, that's a huge prize, isn't it? Especially if it was bigger than the others. It was obviously worth more than the others.
Would you sell it if you got one? What would you do with it?
I reckon it was auctioned for sure.
Yeah.
It's probably changed hands a few times.
You would think so. I'd found online one was auctioned in 2015, I think, and it went to about 17 grand, I think. So they're increasing in value.
Yeah.
So nice things. So I need to declare with this one. So when I was a kid, there was always a book in my house at home I never really understood what it was. It was this book called Masquerade, which was out in the 70s, where there was a golden hare or rabbit, I'm not sure what it was, that was buried in Ampthill, which isn't a million miles away from where our office is. And this book was always a bit of a mystery in our house. I never really understood what it was, and there were all these sorts of random clues in it. And the same sort of thing where it was a random set of clues, which were total mystery to me.
Yeah.
But I was a child at the time. But that had a very similar sort of thing.
That was found, that hair?
It was found, but it was controversial from what I remember. So I think the person that found it was either the brother-in-law of or the friend of the brother-in-law of the writer of the book.
Oh, no.
So it was always one of those and it was. So, I mean, even looking back at the book now, which is still at my mum and dad's house, actually, even looking back at it now, bearing in mind I live about 4 miles away from where the damn thing was found, I wouldn't be able to work it out.
Yeah.
You know, it was.
It had to have some insider knowledge.
I think so, and they certainly had that. So it was a tricky one. So it wasn't. I don't think it was a totally original idea, and it's been done since.
Mm-hmm.
I distinctly remember when we first started talking about this. I remember thinking back to a Texaco campaign where they buried, I can't remember how many cars, I think it was 8 or 10 cars around the country in containers.
Wow.
Where they buried them, you had to buy petrol, and similar sort of idea. You got given clues as a result of buying petrol, and you could go and try and find these cars around the country. I think that might have been early 2000s or something. And it got me to thinking about, in this day and age with social media the way it is, could you even bury something somewhere in the country and people not realise you were doing it?
The Google
Completely.
Maps.
Yeah.
It's a tricky one. I mean, it became, it was a national obsession when it started, because it felt very treasure hunty, famous five, that kind of vibe, didn't it? That people were getting out as a family trying to find these eggs, and it did the job because it, like you said, it created the biggest market share of the time. But yeah, nowadays I think it would be all over social media so quickly. And people would know where things were buried. So I suppose you could only do it, I don't know if you could do it digitally,
Well, they have done, haven't they? They if you, I think a couple of years ago they had the one where you could hide an egg virtually and then give it, friends and family with a clue, and they'd need to go and find it. It was like a geocaching type thing. So they've done a similar thing, and you can sort of see this running for years in some guys. I'm just not sure they can. I'd love them to do it the way they originally do it. It'd be great.
Classic.
Just imagine the potential, particularly with social media and people sharing ideas of where things might be these days. It could be absolutely enormous. I'm not sure anybody's brave enough to do it that way again, because just for the possibility of somebody fraudulently finding something or something like that. But I'd love to see it happen that way again. But I think the mechanic is lovely, and particularly with, as I say, with the possible use of social media in this day and age. It could be even bigger if they ran something like that now. But we've done amazingly well, because these eggs have been in the office now for a week or two, and we've managed not to eat them. So we'd better close it off before we tuck into these two and let somebody else dig into them, shall we?
Absolutely.
Good.